I've never really been one to feel connected to a car, but I just have a feeling that she's going to help me heal. And I can't explain it, and that's okay. But I just know she's going to keep me safe. And that means the world to me right now. Saturdays are meant for YouTube. I fell down a Hamilton rabbit hole and I was not disappointed by it. Happy Saturday, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lisa and this is my stained glass journey. It has been a hot second since I posted, but if you are still with me or if you are visiting, why don't you hit that subscribe button and stay around for a little bit, huh? It is Saturday. I hope that you had a wonderful week. Things have been really tough for me. That's why I didn't post last week, because I'll be really honest, I didn't have anything very positive to say. I'm one that I want to be honest with my journey, but I also know when I need to just take care of myself. And this past week was one where I just needed to take care of myself. This is my new vehicle. We went last week and went car shopping and test drove a few. My husband made me test drive 3, but really funny story, which I'll tell you throughout this video. I ended up only test driving 1, sitting in 1, and then ultimately picking the car that I chose. So I'm gonna go gas her up because, as per Saturday, I do all of my preparations for the week on Saturday, and so I'm gonna go gas her up and I'll see you guys in a bit. So the story behind the new car, when I last left you, and I'll put the video up here if you didn't see it in the card, I was not sure if I was going to see the RAV. I left that video raw and unedited because at that point everything for me was raw, and I felt the need to honor what I had been through. I know I can't really talk about it because of any pending legal things that are going to take place, but essentially just know that I was rear-ended. The other vehicle went under me, and I was pushed into a guardrail, and my quick thinking husband, because we were in 2 vehicles that night, is the reason that I'm okay. And also the team of archangels and Mary and Jesus probably in there a little bit too, because I am so incredibly grateful that I am still here and that I am safe. And I am not going to lie, I have not been okay. I physically look okay. I went to the hospital to be seen for back, neck, and shoulder pain just to make sure, because I did absorb quite a hit. And I'm physically okay, but the tough thing with that is people forget that there's a whole other type of health that we sometimes forget about, and that's mental health. I might physically look okay. Mentally, I'm not. My house is a wreck. There is laundry that has not been folded. My grades are behind. Like, I have not graded anything, I think, since the accident. I am not mentally okay, and I'm going to be okay, but I have to be really honest with myself right now that there is only so much that I can tolerate at this point. The RAV was totaled. Just the body damage alone was like $8,600, and the limit that they had set for it was 10. It's hard to process still, and I struggle to process still. We went car shopping last weekend. My husband told me to pick 3 cars. So, at first he said I need to go, I need to pick 3, and I was not at a point where I could even fathom that. Story behind the 3 cars, and I'm gonna take this mask down because I'm out of the store now. Story behind the 3 cars. So the one night where my husband said like, hey, we need to start thinking about this, I had a breakdown. I went on a walk. I cried a lot, like hyperventilating a lot. Like neighbors who maybe would have heard me would have been like, wow, she is having a legit panic attack in the middle of the street. Would not be completely false. I was a bit panicked about having to deal with the fact that I worked so hard, and if you've been here for a while and watched my channel for any length of time, you know that I worked really hard on paying off my RAV. So to lose her in a decision that was not even my own, and I basically couldn't even, it wasn't something I chose. Someone else just made the decision and ultimately took her from me. I had the hardest time coping with that. I'm still coping with that, if I'm being completely honest. Love my new vehicle, don't get me wrong. Still coping, which I think is fair. So that night I walked. I had a panic attack in the street, cried a lot, and then came home, opened up my laptop, started looking at local cars, and I knew that I wanted to try the Honda CR-V. So I searched for that first, found one that I really liked at a dealership that actually my husband deals with for his work, and he was able to contact the manager there that he has the information for, and arrange for us to go and see it. And that was, I think, on Wednesday, and we were going to go see that on Saturday. And he also told me pick 2 other cars to test drive because he knows me. I get something stuck in my head and it just sticks there. We'll update you more in a second. Okay, so saw the CR-V, was really interested in it. I really was interested in the difference between the Honda CR-V and the HR-V. By the way, the HR-V is really, really tiny. If you have small children that are going to be growing, I do not recommend it. They had this CR-V already sitting out, so that was the first one that we test drove. Took it, got gas, went to the other dealership, which was right down the road, to see the HR-V. Got into the HR-V, and my husband and I were arm to arm, and that was like the shoulder rest. It was not going to work. It was too small. His head was hitting the ceiling. The car salesman, his head was hitting the ceiling, and he was even smaller than my husband. So with growing kids, that's really not going to work out for us so well. So we ended up scratching the HR-V. And the CR-V was still the front row contender. Now, I also wanted to see a Subaru Forester, and nothing against Subaru or the Forester or anyone who loves their Subaru or their Forester or Subaru in general. I wanted to see it because it seemed to me similar. And then I saw it in person and I was like, no. Does not sit high enough. I now, after the accident, have a thing about I can't be in a car. I feel super uncomfortable, especially driving a car. I can't be low, and I need something that was bigger. So I ultimately chose the Honda CR-V. So we ended up taking home the CR-V that day. I do have to say that I adore her. She is actually nice and clean. As you can see, this is just the mask that I'm wearing now. I am keeping the seats completely clean. There's the back seat. My daughter is still in a booster, and my son sits there. You can see his mask right there. So my kids sit there, and then there is plenty of room back there in the back for groceries and everything. So I really do love my car, and she's actually looking a little bit dirty after this past week. So come on with me, let's get her a bath. We bring home the CR-V, and I have never been one to think that I had a connection with my car. My husband, my father-in-law, they're all car people. They're very connected to cars, and I just have never been. They were talking about how they have felt connected to their vehicles, and like for me, it's always been like, I've never felt that way about a car. When I test drove the CRV, I just felt safe. How messed up I am, and I said how, you know, physically I look okay. I mean, I went all week not knowing where my school keys were. I know they weren't in the rental car that I gave back. I knew that they weren't in my bag. They weren't in my classroom anywhere. I wasn't finding them in the house. I had no idea. Like, I went a solid week without knowing where my school keys are. I mean, there's one thing for not knowing where you placed them. It just goes to show, like, how mentally this is still affecting me. On Thursday, we finished the paperwork. We signed off the title. Man, that was hard. I remember being so happy getting that piece of paper in the mail with the title because it was so proud. It was the one thing that I had followed through on in my life, like for the first time ever. I had an admin who at one point said, I start things really well, but I don't finish. There's a roadblock or something blocks me from finishing, and she was very right. I mean, that made me upset at the time, but she was very right. But anywho, the wash is now open. I'm gonna go drive in there, and I will tell you how Anthony Ramos pulled me out of my funk. Okay, so Anthony Ramos. If you have not seen Hamilton, see Hamilton, #1. #2, he is John Lawrence, who is one of Hamilton's friends, like BFF. Actually, I have just been down in the dumps. I am going through a lot mentally. I think that's fair. I was watching a YouTube video today. I fell down a rabbit hole of Hamilton, and I happened upon one of his videos. It was a Q&A specifically. I just was listening to it because, hello, he's a cutie pie, and I wasn't minding listening to it. I was listening to it, and the question was that someone asked him, what is your biggest pet peeve? And he said that his biggest pet peeve is people who complain. Like, if they didn't have almond milk at the store and they had to buy cashew milk, and oh, this cashew milk just doesn't taste the same. Man, it's just not almond milk, and oh man. And he's like, dude, like, why are you complaining? Drink the cashew milk and live. Like, live your life. And that really impacted me. So I doubt that he is ever going to see this video. But Anthony Ramos, thank you so much for making this little upset mama teacher wife out of her funk. I know you'll probably never see this video, but thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for supporting me and my YouTube channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.